This show is brought to you by DF Studios Limited. Whether you're a business owner or entrepreneur, DF Studios will guide and assist you on the best ways to promote your brand digitally, in addition to creating visitor and customer generating content like blogs, social media posts, videos, and even podcasts like this one you're listening to right now. Visit dfstudiosltd.com or hit up info@dfstudiosltd.com for more info. All right, so at long last, though, let's talk about Pinocchio,
Sure.
which is funny because this is the second time this year we're going to talk about Pinocchio because
Yeah.
3 months ago we suffered through the Robert Zemeckis live action / animated version of Pinocchio, which pretty much came off as this pointless, soulless readaptation of a classic, Disney animated film.
Yeah.
It felt equally, I would say, even more soulless actually and pointless than the John Favreau remake of the Lion King back in 2018 or 19, I think it was, right? But yeah, we absolutely hated that movie, but it was just bad, but it was badly acted. Poor Tom Hanks, but I mean, the man he do his best, boy. And even like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who played Jiminy Cricket, boy. But yeah, boy, their talents were just squandered in this pointless, this an absolute waste of time in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
So of course, why we were suffering, why we were respectively suffering through that movie, we were like, all right, well, this Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio film that
Right.
coming out in the next few months, that instantly is going to be much better than what we suffered through, right? And yeah, I mean, we waited, we were patient, and we finally got it. It came out on Netflix. We checked it out a couple days before meeting up here. And yeah, it's Guillermo del Toro. I mean, we've talked about it numerous times. One of the most iconic filmmakers in the game right now, or one of the filmmakers that still continues to influence me, right? Especially in terms of like fantasy writing and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, it's his Pinocchio, right? For more or less, right? But yeah, Ricardo, take it away. What is this? What is this Pinocchio about?
Right. So it's closer to the original story. Del Toro, does what's I call it? He does a kind of grounded, dark fantasy version, stop motiony. I think it's the same director who did sorry, the same producer. The guy who was involved in Coraline and Nightmare on Elm is involved in this. Correct me if I'm
I
wrong.
believe so. I believe
Right.
so.
Right. Yeah. So it's Del Toro just giving us a dark, creepy take on the Pinocchio story, and eh, as far as I know, I don't know what else they changed exactly, but this was solid. I liked it. He looking, everything is creepy aesthetics and whatnot. But like the problem with this, again, it's not a big problem, but it's kind of a problem. Um, it's the last film ruined it for me. Like no, I just don't want to say another Pinocchio story, but this is pretty good.
Oh wow! So
Yeah,
you kind of retroactively,
it is
you
a palate cleanser.
retroactively did not enjoy this one because of the last film. Wow.
A little bit because it's like okay, I had to go through Pinocchio story again. All right, whatever. But no, it's good. This is pretty good actually. What it is, it actually reminds me a little bit of the Benini movie, which
Oh,
is
which I still haven't seen, and I
okay.
don't think I ever will see.
Well, here's the thing with that movie. The problem is I think the dubbed version is pretty bad. Yeah, but the undubbed version not that bad. Like it makes a lot more sense and it's closer to the again trying to be closer to the original story, which is really weird and creepy and a bunch of weird shit. And again, with Del Toro, is a lot of context towards like historical, recent historical conceits. So there's a lot of conceits towards fascism and a lot of conceits towards, stuff that went down and whatnot. But it was a interesting visual choice in terms of what they do with it, in terms of like his like when he nose grow, it just look like branching trees, for example. And again, the stop motion is really well done for what it is. And but it's roughly the same story. Like they didn't change all that much as far as I know. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, all right, what did change again? Like I'm trying to look forward because again, I don't like remember Pinocchio's narrative, right? But I know like the Disney original Disney version was very different from the story and the story, and then the new one tried to do kind of the story, and the Benini one is a lot more accurate. But this was still good. It's well made. well told and well done. But I couldn't get into it for what it was. It's just decent voice acting. I see a lot of Tom Kenny in this. He did multiple voices. See it who else? Who was the main voice of Pinocchio again? Somebody big.
Oh,
He's
it's a
kind of
it's
quick.
a newbie actually. By the name of let me find it
Okay,
here.
so who's
Gregory
Geppetto?
Mann. Gregory Mann.
Okay, right. Who's Geppetto then?
Oh,
Is that
Geppetto is it took me a while to recognize the voice. It's David Bradley Huss from
Oh,
Harry
okay, right.
Potter,
Yes.
Game of Thrones. Like
Right,
when you
right,
see the
right. Yeah.
face, like when you see his real life face, like oh yeah,
Yeah.
you really have a Geppetto.
And then
He have he really have that Geppetto look about
and
him,
then
you know.
was Jiminy Cricket in this
Oh, Ewan McGregor. Like
right, that's the person. That's the most
that
popular.
was the big name that I knew going into this
Right.
film actually. His
And
voice.
yeah, they get good people. I mean, Ron Perlman in it, Tilda Swinton in it. It's like, all right, okay. I think Phil Wolfhard was in this as somebody.
Yes,
Hopefully.
he was Candlewick. I was surprised by that.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
well, they do.
For me the big standout for me actually was Christoph Waltz though, who played Count Volpe.
Right,
If
right.
yeah. Like I was like, you know,
I
like when I
did
saw the
not
name,
pick
I was
up
like,
it was
really?
him.
But then I rewind a few shots, a few scenes, especially when I was hearing you singing, I was like, that's a Christoph Waltz voice there. I hear it.
Right,
I hear
right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's how I feel about most of it. It's like it good. It didn't wow me, but it's just solid and for what it is. It's still pretty good. Like it's like all right. I wish I didn't watch the last one. That's the problem with this. But it is a palate cleanser nonetheless. I didn't love it because again the last one poisoned the well for me. But it's like oh god, a good Pinocchio story again. All right. But this is still pretty good, and
Understand.
because I'm not the biggest stop motiony fan, it's like all right, cool. They make it this solid for what it was. But I enjoyed it. So I had fun.
All right, well here's the thing, right? I love this movie. Like
Yeah,
I mean, obvious reasons aside, yes, this is much infinitely better than what we got here
yeah,
with the previous film, right?
yeah,
Just for many reasons, boy. For one thing, the animation. Like, yes, I can understand you're not a fan of stop motion animation though, but I must say, right? Like, I wouldn't call myself like an expert when it comes to all things stop motion animation. Like, I can't like list for you 10 or 20 stop motion films that we got over the past like 5, 10 years, for example, right? But I would say this is one of the most fluid stop motion animation films of regardless of length, right? That I've seen like ever in my opinion, but ever so often you will have that sort of shutter speed kind of moment,
right.
like especially when you when how I would say when it zeroes in on a character and they have to like move their arms or whatnot, you can kind of see the little, the stop motiony aspect of it there. But for me, everything else felt fluid, way. It felt livid. It felt like it didn't feel jerky, right?
Yeah,
If you understand what I mean, right? It just felt so. It was just all I would say flawlessly pulled off, right? In
yeah,
terms of execution, they're just flawless in my opinion. You could tell that Del Toro and this guy Mark Gustafson, right? Whose name I'm not familiar with, but I assume he probably worked on, other animated films in the past, right? Yeah, they did a great job in terms of just the animation itself. Boy. This is stellar in my opinion, right? Also to the story, boy. The story is just even though yes, it is, although I'm not familiar with the original with the source material stuff, right? But this one feels like it is legit pulled from the story itself, but just tweaked a little bit to make it relate to historical events and whatnot, right? But yeah, this one feels just way better fleshed out. In terms of just the world of Pinocchio, the characters. I was really impressed by just how much they fleshed out Geppetto, right?
yeah.
and and Pinocchio as well too, but more Geppetto though. I was really surprised by the amount of depth that they gave him. You know what I mean? Especially with him losing his son. I like how the show starts off
Right.
with and you actually see the son's death. And yeah, it is heartbreaking. Although I did kind of see coming a little mile away, but when it happened, it just kind of came a little unexpectedly. It's one of those things that you just hoping to yourself when you see it for the first time that it doesn't happen, but it does. But it's just like, jeez, boy, gut punch, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you could understand the emotion, Jen. You know how you of course how you feel with his son's death and why in the first place he would decide to just make Pinocchio, right? Because I think in the last film, it was just like, oh well, I had a kid and the kid dead, I'm lonely, so I'm just gonna
Lazy
make a
shit up.
puppet and call it Pinocchio. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one it felt like it felt like it made sense actually, like why this old Italian guy would do this in the first place, right? It made it felt plausible, way more plausible in my opinion, right? Um, just to touch on, the actor who plays Pinocchio boy, Gregory Man boy. He was great in this though. What I will say though, I did not expect that or I hear musical numbers in this though. And if I just have one teeny tiny little gripe, like a little nitpick though, is because I went in that I didn't expect to hear songs in this at all, right? I,
Yeah.
I, I should have known, I guess, looking at the 2 hour runtime, right? But I'll talk about the runtime in a bit, right? But yeah, it's not like I went in knowing, okay, this song that came out on YouTube some 3 weeks ago is gonna be on this soundtrack or whatever. I don't know, so I just heard songs like, yeah, they're fine. They have this Broadway-esque kind of vibe to it, but how best to describe it? Um, Encanto, this is not. I know it's
No,
it's
no,
unfair of
yeah,
me
yeah.
to compare both shows, but you know what I mean? Like, when like with Encanto, you just got this vibrant, this exuberance when it came to the music and whatnot, right? So even though when you were hearing songs for the first time, there was a catchiness to it there. So
Yeah.
that's why you remember like a majority of these songs off of Encanto, right? Especially like we don't talk about Bruno, right? But like in this case here, because I didn't expect songs, I hear the songs and they fit into the world, right? Especially the one like I do like how it works in the narrative. The first song that Pinocchio sings though, when he's all inquisitive and trying to, he's just asking, what does this do? What does that do? And all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, right? But I would say Gregory could sing though. The kid have pipes. The kid could sing though. But the songs themselves have this Broadway style to it, especially with the composition and the writing and all that kind of stuff. Um, but it didn't. But they didn't really stick with me all that much, I would say, right? But I would say if I give it probably two, well, maybe one or two more viewings, maybe the soundtrack would stick with me a lot more. And maybe
Right.
because I knew, well, I just kind of found out about this after the fact. Yeah, soundtrack came out I think on the same day of the release on Netflix, or maybe a day before. But again, I just don't know any songs for this, right? And the
Right.
songs didn't really stand out to me, or I should say the song. I don't remember the songs. I remember they include their place in the film and the purpose and all that kind of stuff, but I don't remember lyrics or whatnot. I remember maybe melodies, but that's it, right? All that aside though, everything else is great though. As I said, the animation is great. The voice acting though was fantastic, I must say. Didn't expect. I mean, even guys like Ewan McGregor. I mean, he crushed as well too, and even get a chance to sing as well too. There's a nice little bit involving him not being able to sing a particular song, but when he finally sings his song, it's very heartfelt when it comes at
Right.
exactly the right time. And I didn't expect to hear voice people like David Bradley, Ron Perlman, who plays Candlewick's father, right? The Podesta, right? I'll talk about the Podesta in a bit, right? Finn Wolfhard, didn't expect to hear him. Christoph Waltz, like I said. But the surprise for me, boy, was both Tilda Swinton and Kate Blanchett, boy.
Right.
Because in my head, right, when I saw those names, right, especially Kate Blanchett, I tell myself, all right, so slight spoiler, right? So the wood sprite, right? The actual fairy, well, in this film they call it the wood sprite, right?
Yeah.
The
They already.
fairy
Yeah. They
who
already
who
call it the wood.
grants, yeah,
Yeah.
right, who grants, Pinocchio life, right? There was this more or less there's a version, in the real world, I would say, and then much to my surprise, in the underworld, right? So yeah, there's a great, actually a really excellent, character, well, sorry, piece of character development where like you literally when Pinocchio dies, he goes into the underworld and there's this chimera-esque kind of creature who sends him back into the real world. Like I thought that was really cool and very, very Del Toro-esque, right?
Yeah.
Very, fantasy and horror inspired as well too, right? But there was like two versions of it. There was, well, right. So that character is dead actually, right? So I thought that either Tilda was dead and the other one was the wolf sprite or wood sprite, sorry, or vice versa. Much to my surprise, I realized Kate Blanchett voiced the friggin' monkey, right?
Right.
And I
Mhm.
did like, wait, what? But yeah, she voiced the monkey, and yeah, I didn't expect the monkey character in this as well. This is the assistant to Count Volpe, actually, who was voiced by Christoph Waltz. But yeah, that monkey was hilarious as well too. I actually love Count Volpe in this too. Like I love the character. Yes, this the character development that they give him, right? In comparison, of course, to what we got with the god awful, Pinocchio film, right? But here, this part, yeah, I mean, this character had a lot of depth. You saw him as a con man, as scum, but there's a dimension about him. You can understand why he is the way he is, right? Same thing goes with the Podesta character as well, to play by Ron Perlman, right? And this is where which caught me by surprise now with Del Toro's exploration, of fascism, right? In Italy. I didn't see that coming a mile away, right?
Right.
So yeah, similar to shows like, The Devil's Backbone and
Right.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
that
yeah,
had
this
the
yeah, this
Spanish
is
history. Yeah. Yeah.
right. Yeah, this is an anti-war film, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it does zero in on a particular era. And again, just these surprises just keep coming, right? Framing the whole idea of kids, which actually was true, right? Taking boys, right, and putting them in the army, right? They touch on that as well too.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Podesta and all too. He's just talking about it's all about the country, the mother country, and all that kind of stuff, right? Yes, a custody, right? Haha, right? And yeah, he more or less forces his son Candlewick, right? Voiced by Finn Wolfhard, yeah, to join the army, right? And again, surprises just keep coming, right? So even Pinocchio and all gets involved too. And it's actually a great moment where he becomes a propaganda piece as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean that again, though, just the writing in this is so great in this, right? And I was even impressed by the dialogue as well too, man. I actually thought that the dialogue was just superb, dude. That's just the way how it was written, right? That's in terms of how it touches on particular beats and particular points made in this film, right? So I mean, I could gush on and on for these about this boy, but yeah, this show amazed me. It wowed me. It whelmed me. It overwhelmed me. I will lie, though, a few moments, man, tears. The ending in particular, man, tears.
Right.
But,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
yeah.
The weird thing about it is how the cricket was talking about himself after he dead. I was like, oh, right, he's
Yeah,
heaven or
boy.
something.
That one hit me, boy. That one hit me, boy. But because but I will say, well, I see a couple of people have like one of the issues some people may have with this film is that it feels very reminiscent of other Del Toro films, like how I
Right.
brought up Pan's Labyrinth and Devil's Backbone, because yeah, those films also touch about life and death and survival and brutality in the world and just the reality of the world and how bad it is and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's Del Toro, and I think that it is
Yeah.
appropriate. It does not feel forced or shoehorned. It feels like it belongs in this world and it needs to be in this world, right? You mentioned creepy before. I honestly, I mean, this is all right. So while it is dark, right, it's not too dark that kids can't enjoy it or appreciate it, right? But it is a family film, right? For the most part, it is lighthearted. It is funny. It is adventurous as well too, and very heartwarming as well too. But yeah, you have a few dark moments as well too, but not too serious, right? What I mean,
Right.
like this is a PG film. This is primarily a PG film, right? You don't have to worry about anything, right? But I have to applaud Del Toro boy for while he doesn't go too dark, right? Because I mean, he understands that yes, this is a Pinocchio. This is Pinocchio, right? This is a it's a fairy tale, right? For more or less, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of moments, boy, like one scene involving Podesta and his son Candlewick, boy. That catch me, boy. That was just like wow, boy. That went dark, boy. But thankfully, it didn't go too far, right? But again, it's appropriate to the story. It's appropriate to what's happening in the film as well, too, right? But yeah, as I said before, I love this film though. But really really what won me about it though was the story itself, the storytelling in particular, and the animation, right? I mean, yes, the animation of course is going to be great, right? You're going into this movie expecting nothing but greatness when it comes to the animation, right? But it's the story though that really impacted me, man. I didn't expect the show to go this deep, to be this layered, to be this not complex, but just how they was able to flesh out the world, right? How the world of Pinocchio, how they fleshed out the characters, whether they were side characters like Candlewick, or major ones like Pinocchio and Geppetto, and even Jiminy as well too, right? Like
Yeah.
even his character gets fleshed out as well too. I didn't expect the whole underworld afterlife stuff, but that totally worked as well
Yeah.
too. You know what I mean? It just made for a great bit involving how Pinocchio is able to survive, as well as he was, without spoiling it. But it led to a really, 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 truly, just emotional moment near the end. I wouldn't spoil what happens there, right? But yeah, I just love how it all leads to that, man. So, and lastly, before I get to rate it, I do love the fact that he dedicated to his mom and dad. Though, actually, if I'm not mistaken, his mom passed away this year, right? And I think that for the premiere date of the movie, I think it was in some film festival, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was a day after his mom's funeral. I think, if I'm not
Okay. Wow.
mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the show really, really, it hit deep for him, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, because I know how distraught he would have been just knowing that he made this film, and now he had it kind of dedicated to his mom, right? And of course his dad, who I believe is deceased as well, man. But yeah, you could feel the heart and emotion throughout the entirety of this film, man. So I love this. I'm gonna give this a strong 4.5 out of 5. This is one of the best films I've seen in 2022.
Yeah.
This more than made up for the 2 hours, because yeah, I had to kind of force myself to watch that the Robin Zemeckis version, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is infinitely better than that. And in closing, it's so funny that in 2022 I have Pinocchio though itself, the title Pinocchio, is gonna show up on both my best and worst of
You
lists
know.
for this year, but
Yeah.
yeah, this version of Pinocchio, this Del Toro version, is one of the best films I've seen this year. I absolutely love this film. I can't recommend it enough. And I'll close with this. If this does not get a nomination for Best Animated Feature, boy, that's all I had to say. All right, but yeah, your final thought to rating.
Yeah. Yeah. As I say with you, I give this a pretty high score. Again, the last movie really poisoned the well for me, so I was really not into watching over Pinocchio a second time. Plus, yes, this is very good. Everything you say about it is, I mostly agree with. As I said, I was just not into this one as much as I could have been, but again, it's because I've been Pinocchioed out, of the discourse. It's just mostly because, yeah, these American film just was just such a bad taste in my mouth. But this one cleans things up and is a palate cleanser for the most part. But it's really a shame I should not have watched that film, to be honest. But I thought,
Yeah, but not sorry to continue, boy, but I won't lie, boy. Does he take a huge L with that film, you know?
yeah, bro.
Like it could have just come out when it came out, right? But now, boy, 3 months after that, you get a superior,
I mean,
movie.
it's
Oh,
kind of like the reverse. It's kind of like the reverse situation with Jungle Book, right? Like the and the circus Jungle Book wasn't all that great, I find.
yeah,
Uh,
I didn't care for that at all.
right, but
At all.
I enjoyed the Disney Jungle Book. I remember enjoying that. I don't know. It just I don't know why they decided to make that shit. Like it's very frustrating to just watch that nonsense. But look, I wasn't no super fan of Pinocchio in the first place. So it's like, whatever. There is them money to burn. So moving on. Yeah, rating. 8 out of 10, 8.5 probably closer to that. It's very well made, very well. Everything comes together really well. I'll admit, I wasn't super into it. I was watching it. I just, it was killing my time. It wasn't in the background or anything like that. But I'll admit, I wasn't super paying attention to it. That's the main point. But it's not like I
Okay,
was.
okay.
It's not like I was super bored. It's just like it really felt like a chore at watch over Pinocchio again. I was like, yeah, the last film just ruined my
Okay, but
personal.
even with the changes made, when the differences in this film,
No, yeah, it's a different
you
story.
still was thinking about the previous one. All
Yeah,
right.
because in my head I was like, oh god, I do this mental calculation for this product that this IP that I'm not the biggest fan of. But like, whatever. I enjoy it. If you enjoy this, yeah, you should. It's very good. Del Toro comes very well for it. I enjoy it for what it is. Yeah, 8.5 out of 10 is actually, it gets a very high score actually for me. But seriously, F that Zemeckis film, dude. Like that will just it just suck the fun out of the room for for something like this. And if I was like, well, I didn't see Pinocchio story in a while, and then Del Toro just dropped that on us, and I really enjoyed. But the Zemeckis thing just like, jeez, boy. I don't know why they did that. It really come across like what do you call it, boy? I forget it had like some IP shenanigans with Pinocchio. Did that happen recently? Like Pinocchio was in the public domain or something like that? I'm not sure.
I don't know, right?
Yeah, I
Now,
don't.
I don't know if it had to do with, I think it's the upcoming 100th anniversary of Disney Studios or something like that. I don't know, but like of all the movies y'all could picture, or they had to
Yeah,
pick
that.
this one. And well, the excuse could be, the when you wish upon a star, 'cause that's the song that you hear when you see
Yeah,
the little Disney, promo thing, right? Yeah. But I don't know. They really could have just picked another film, Dread, and if it had to be Pinocchio, Dread, they didn't have to do it in this lazy way, Dread. That's
yeah,
the problem.
it was atrocious. That's one thing what bothered me about. It's like, why does the fluctuation for this so, why the quality of the stuff just fluctuates so much, I really don't understand why they really be messing up these live action movies. Whatever. Moving on. I liked it for what it is. It's fine. Um, yeah, 8.5 out of 10.
All right. But yeah, Del Toro, thank you so much for the palate cleanser. I really appreciate it. It's just so funny that we just got this you know uber mediocre version prior to your film, boy. But yeah, Knocked Out of the Park, thank you so much for this. Yes, I'm talking to Del Toro here, right? I do hope that this film gets nominated for Best Animated Feature. And I'm rooting for this to win, actually. But I mean, there's been some other great, animated features with, that came out this year. But I have a feeling that this one have a huge chance of winning, man. But yeah, that being said, though, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is a real deal. Forget the Robert Zemeckis Pinocchio; it does not exist. But yeah, definitely check out the Del Toro version. You will not be disappointed.